Give me an upload yet. Now I got it. All right. Upload, 0 frames drop, no slow frames. You're looking at a screen share. Plus I have to upload.
Right. 480p, 720p, 60.
Could be 1920.
1440p by 60. That's probably me. All right.
Oh,
Let me
gotcha.
check. Let me check audio. Yeah, that's probably my monitor. All right. One sec.
Don't forget, we do have chat that'll come up on the left side.
Oh yeah.
So
we're good.
pull the rundown up myself. Find the rundown. So rundown. Stranger things have happened because we lost our interview. And that's the funniest thing. I get it. We're live. We can talk about that here in a minute, and if people join in and want to chat, and they'll understand it too. Also, like that the Twitch Studio Beta only uses like 3 to 4% of the CPU. Granted, it's a 10. Still, it's all. You can't see the card now. Okay. All right. So if I everything, yeah. So I can start us off by showing off what I am getting ready to do a lot of testing on tonight.
It sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. It did. This may be, and I have to just say this: AMD packaging, like legitimately, pretty nice. The little folio thing. Yes, that is our W6800. There's a W6600 back here.
Oh, Twitch is dropping a little bit.
I saw that. I saw it drop 244 frames. I don't know why. Shouldn't be dropping frames at all, but keep a monitor
Weird.
on it. I don't see any slow.
Well,
What's up? Are you gonna say something there?
no. I wasn't gonna say anything. Sorry.
Oh, okay. I was like, all right, cool. Yeah, so we did. Unfortunately, we lost an interview. We had one planned for tonight, guys. This is this 7 o'clock, so this is don't call me for IT support. We are not your typical IT guys. I am wearing my The Dude shirt. If you don't know what movie this is from, it is from The Big Lebowski. Yeah. I still got to work on figuring out a way for us to go live both on Twitch and a YouTube at the same time. It may require the AMD rig beside me to run. See if we can make that work out maybe next week or something like that, or 2 weeks from now when we do another episode. Yep. Found some GPUs, getting ready to do some hardcore testing. I'm really interested in this one almost as much as I am the 6800. The 6600 is going to be sweet, just because the price point. It's just in plugging it up and running it through a couple of things while so just so you know why I haven't gotten to the benchmarks like I wanted to and the testing like I wanted to already, Chris. The test rig that I've shown you earlier, for some reason when I put the card in, I hadn't been running that test rig for a hot minute, and it needed to do some updates, and those updates caused it to kind of stall out because I put the card in before doing the updates, and so the old card that was in there kind of, I don't know why, it's just being messy. So I'm just going to factory reset the thing, basically take it back, which is kind of crazy and kind of awesome that that's a setting inside of Windows now. You can actually go in Windows and factory reset your machine. Not something you could have done. I would have expected you to be able to do even just 2 to 3 years ago. Just kind of forgot about it. But yeah, so I got to get that. So after the show tonight, I'm going to take that thing, factory reset it with the 6800 in there and really start the benchmarking. But for lack of a better word, with all the GPU crises that are out there, I'm going to share my screen for everybody. I'm going to share the screen for everybody so that we can look at this. And the reason for that is I want to show everybody on Newegg because, and yes, nobody sponsors us for any of this stuff, but we always talk about parts you can buy, something, and that right now everything's kind of in limbo, for lack of a better word. There's nothing really there for anybody to go out and be able to get. So, but if you go into video cards and devices and go to workstation graphics cards now, 6800 is in stock and consistently in stock, nonetheless. Just so you know, that's kind of something to think about. Now,
Just
here's
FYI.
yeah, and here's the other thing I was thinking about too with this. So, yes, it's going to have a few less stream cores. I'm going to scroll down to this because it is as well in stock.
Mhm.
Yes, it is more expensive. Holy crap! They've got the A5.
What?
They have an A4000 in stock at
What?
pretty close to MSRP.
The I can beat it.
Well, I would agree with your statement. Yes, you can. Obviously, that makes things
I'm
great for you.
I'm
But
very glad that I can now beat Newegg.
well, so what I was getting at though is the 6600. It's not a A4000. It's not designed to
No.
be an A4000. It really falls more in between the A2000 and the A4000, and it's priced that way as well. The A2000 only has, and I'll pull this up so we can look at both of them. So I just want to, we're going down a mini rabbit hole here because we're getting ready to do some testing, and I want people to kind of know where some of the thought processes are behind this. There's a reason I really like the W6600, for a lot of, people out there, and probably end up recommending it to a lot of people out there, is price versus, you know, performance. It fits nicely. It's better than it's going to be better than a old RTX regular 6000. Look, there it is, right front page, the A2000.
And the fact that I believe it has 2 more video outs, I
Yep.
believe,
Yeah.
which for some people could be very helpful.
Actually, the W6800 is what has the 6 display outs. This one actually only has, and I'll swap back real quick. See this? This one only has 4 regular DisplayPort outs. Not
Ah.
but that's okay. I mean, 4 ports, all of them. You know, AMD's
Yeah.
website. Because I mean, and that's a perfectly good card right there. Okay, I gotta say the only downside and my only drawback. Now, granted, I have a ton of them because over the year I've had a ton of them. But the mini display, they only include
Yeah.
one mini display port to display port on the W6800. I'm sure depending on what you buy, but that is just something to kind of think about. Um, the box that I got, the one that they shipped me from the factory, only had one in it, but that's okay. I mean, realistically, if you're buying a card that's got that many DisplayPort outs, you're probably going to have a couple laying around. And any of the old ones, it's you're going to have that anyway. I want to scroll down here and I want to pull the 60 up so that we can kind of see it side by side. I don't like how
What
they
I
I don't like how they call it for the high end because truthfully this is more the mid end for business solutions. Enterprise, but it is, I guess technically it's over a couple $100. So yeah, I call that the high end, but I don't consider that high. So if you scroll down, but yes, it's a little bit, like I said, it's going to generate it's going to be a little different than an A2000. But an A2000 is a little cheaper, and this is a whole different product stack to think about.
Yeah.
Like this is this
Yeah.
this product is not designed for the A2000, however you want to look at it. But so here we go. Just to get a quick comparison notes for it for anybody that's out there and wants to know. So the A2000 is generating about single precision performance is somewhere around 8 teraflops. So, right, that's okay for a $400 card. It's not bad at all. The $700 6600, however, is pulling a single precision performance of about 10.4 teraflops. So in pure compute capacity, you're about 50% higher. No, about 25% higher. Yes, you're paying 50% more, but you're also getting 2 more gigs of VRAM at the same time. Like I said, I can 100% get behind that thought process just because you know that ain't nothing to bat your eyes at. That's a good little setup. Looking back at it, like I said, it's the reason I like this card a lot is where it falls in the stack for people. Yeah, this is going to be. It does have 32 megs of infinity cache, so it's going to have better, VRAM support and all that stuff. It's also going to support AMD's smart access memory and that kind of stuff. So if you're building an AMD workstation rig, it's kind of hard to not recommend an AMD workstation card, and you can get them at MSRP right off Newegg, which means likely you, Chris, could get them an even better deal.
Yeah.
That's just, I mean, it just makes sense. It's not something normal, not something you usually would think about and see, but it's just something that I kind of wanted to point out. And like I said, it's both of them, the 6600 and the 6800, are online now. What I'm really comparing here, just for the notes, is I am truly comparing. Realistically, I want to see how it compares to an A6000, but it's not going to compare with an A6000.
No.
It's not designed to. I mean, even if you look at the price point, it's not designed to compare with an A6000. Now, it should compete with an old RTX 6000, and I believe AMD even does comparisons on it to an RTX 4000 or 5000. But so back to the W6600 real quick before I get back into the 68. I see that the 66, because if you go back to the Newegg, and I'm going to come back over and show you guys this again. An RTX 4000, here's an RTX 4000, just the regular 4000 is $1,049. Yes, it's got 8 gigs of GDDR6. However, it's only got 7.1 teraflops of performance. Right? So you're getting a 35% better card than an old 4000 with the W6600. That's kind of hard to ignore that and somehow explain this to me. It's the #1 bestseller, the RTX 4000. That's, I mean, and yes, technically it does have a couple fewer stream cores, but not by a massive amount. Holy crap, we're having a bunch of frame drops, by the way.
Yup.
That's not any good.
Yup. Nope. I am not sure what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It happens. It happens.
I was curious on Newegg, and I was looking at the A5000, and I saw it for what it was supposed to be basically, and then a line down, I saw it for double that. And I'm like, so you're gonna have 2 listings that are $2,000 apart. What?
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna lose on that one.
It's
Somebody's not paying attention.
yeah. It is what it is.
So swapping from Nvidia to AMD.
All right. So, well, that's the whole point and process of what I'm doing right now is to get some good testing out there. I'm going to do that now. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit awkward. Um, and you know, it happens, but ooh, that's what I want to do. See if this fixes our dropping of frames, because we just dropped another 1,000 for another 500 frames. Don't like this.
What's the overall percentage drop?
Not telling me it's dropped, but I'm also usually uploading at 6,000 frames a second. I wonder if it's whenever I'm transferring in between pages.
No,
Oh, no, I didn't do it. I don't know why it's dropping frames at all. You know what I am going to do? I'm going to disconnect my cell phone from the Wi-Fi.
that might help.
Not that it really matters. I only have. Oh, I do have a laptop. Couldn't. Never had an issue with that before. But all right, that's taken care of. We'll see if that fixes it. That was maybe. All right, I say all that to say this: my upload speed is 6,000 kilobits a second. So you really
It's
shouldn't.
not. It's not great. It's 6 meg. Should be like at least 10 meg up.
Four right now. Now I'm back at. Okay, okay, here we go. Now we're
Yeah,
up to 9,000,
should be like
9,500.
minimum like 5 or 10 meg, ideally 10.
This is awkward to do, but I'm going to check this real quick. I've got a 40 meg upload service, but clients weird like the network connection positively fine. Just every so often it deciding it wants to. I'm trying to see if I've got anything. That is. Go to web page. Hello. My dog is whining in the background if you end up hearing her. But yes, no. So I'm swapping over the basically my primary test rig is going to be an all AMD rig for the first time since I've had it. So
Since ever.
should be interesting. Should be really interesting. It says it's like I said. It says it's okay. It's just randomly drops below. Wonder if there's just I mean,
Could just be a bad time.
shockingly. I mean, you know, it is the. Where's my? Here it goes. If we drop frames, I apologize. All right. Now we're going to drop frames, but be prepared for it because I'm getting ready to do a speed test on the network and figure out what's going
Oh yeah, it's gonna hate that.
on. So I'm not doing it anyway. You know what we were doing earlier? I'm going to stop uploading video to you. That improve. Oh, oh, and still holding a 6 meg up, but being weird. Let's see if we, I don't know, but I don't know any other way to do this better though. Honestly, man, we'll just have to hope for the best and pray for the worst.
Yep. Let's just go right on forward.
Yep. Let's keep on pressing forward and move on.
Full
So
steam.
Chris goes back to CAD. You've got a hot minute to talk.
Woo!
I'm going to
Yeah,
step away while you have that hot minute to talk and fix something real fast and see if that. I'm going to go remove that laptop off the network because it might be pulling something I don't know or pushing something. I will be right back. Chris, tell us all about this new job. Explain more. We need to know. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. All right.
cool. All right.
Talk about it,
Uh,
Chris.
yeah. So I was working in substation engineering in my first couple jobs for ABB and for a small local company here in Raleigh. And then I moved away from it, and I'm going back to it to protection and control CAD, doing a little bit of physical. But so protection and control is it's the in panel stuff that so it's related to the control panels for the substation, which, if you don't know what a substation is, that's the big uh, yard with the transformers and the breakers and the bus bar and everything that converts transmission power, which goes long distances, to distribution power, which is what goes to homes and businesses and whatnot. Um, so I'm going back into protection and control. Um, so microstations, substation, maybe some AutoCAD. Um, but I'm excited for it. Haven't done it in a while, and it should be fun.
And I'm definitely excited for you.
It's work from home, which will be nice.
Well, I mean,
So,
that's always a perk.
yep,
Work from home
yep,
is like the best way you can do things.
yep.
Moving network.
Everything good?
I think we found some of the problems, but well, because for some reason there's network traffic. I don't know what there is. That fixed most of it.
What?
I, I I killed the AMD rig. I just pulled it off the network and jumped about a little bit a second. I don't know why it's doing what it's doing. And my dog,
Uh,
if you hear her whining, it's because she sees something outside. I just don't know why or what.
it's weird.
But it was what?
Uh, Twitch is still trying to buffer, but it's. I was saying that it was weird that the AMD rig was starting to do stuff.
Yeah, it was kind of like ghost pulling.
Jeez.
Weird. There shouldn't be a dang thing pulling network traffic on my switch upstairs right now. Everything's trying to pull. So I'm just going to open the switch up and just have one thing connected. Maybe that helps some. It's well, like I said, it's. I live in a college town, and I think I have to see what the final upload speed. Yeah, I've got 34.5 upload available to me.
See, it's a Friday night, so what's happening in Clemson right now?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to necessarily think it's Clemson so much as it might be the server that's receiving this, whatever the closest one is. It might be
Mm,
getting tapped by, you know, doing their thing.
yep.
Um, I can't get them to stop doing their thing. What it is. I mean, 5,000 frames for 25 minutes isn't that big of an issue. I love how we're talking about this on stream, but it's okay too. I mean, people understand. It'll pick them back up eventually. They'll be all right. So you've made it that way. Road trips with Brad. I'm thinking that so the whole question mark that I had behind that in the rundown was I think one of the things we might want to do in the near future is maybe have like a little feature series because I get sent on the road all the time. You know this, Chris.
Hmm.
The next couple of weeks for me, especially, are going to be interesting. So maybe what we should do is have a mini series where whenever I go on the road, I take the laptop, we fire it. I'll fire it up. I'll get on Twitch and I'll just stream about where I'm at. Talk about the road trips. Talk about what I'm doing. If
That'd be cool.
any kind of tech related series is related to that, because what inevitably with me, what ends up happening is wherever I go. I mean, and the title of our website, whatever you want to call it, our email, all that stuff. Not your typical IT guys. People have to understand. I am a metrology engineer. Chris, you're a designer. Yes, you own a computer building company. However, neither of us are actual like real IT people. Like big air quotes. Both of us got it right there. Real IT people. Now, I'm not saying that's boldly or anything like that, but it's just truth behind the whole story. Now, I say all that to say this. What I think is funny about all this stuff is we have a lot of opportunity. A lot of times when I go on a road trip to another, even another site that I work at or something like that, another site that I have to sit down and do work for somebody. Whenever I go on those road trips, I end up with inevitably having to sort out some kind of computer issue for somebody. I'm not a typical IT person. That's why we named it the way what we did. But I'm also involved more in IT than I. Chris is a computer builder, and one of the things that I talked to and how we came to be friends and started this in general was we kind of had, this is kind of like a backstory for a little bit of us, Chris, but it also gives people a little more context about what I'm talking about when I say road trips with Brad or something like that. And what I mean is we have, we got to talking about things because the company that I work for needs new computers for the work that we do, which is laser scan processing and 3D CAD and stuff like that, which is somewhat up your alley. CAD being, you just got another job
Yeah,
in CAD. That's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah,
Kind of excited for
yeah.
that for you. But it's also, the road trips perspective for us, for me at least, is I deal with those IT questions, and I got in contact with you because, like I said, we're looking to build new machines, and the machines we build are typically the most expensive inside my corporation. It is a Fortune 100 corporation. I'm not going to tell you exactly who I work for. Um, I'm sure at some point, if you guys ever figured it out, it really wouldn't bother me. It wouldn't be a big deal. But I do work for a large utility corporation. And just like any other major corporation, they pretty much buy general use computers for everybody. So one of the things that I'm working on right now with IT, even though I'm not in IT, is how to get another department that wants to do stuff kind of like we do, but they need some help with it. Like my
Uh-huh.
team is not large. We're not, there's not a whole bunch of us on the team. There's only a couple of us. And we stay small so that we stay, efficient and effective.
Right.
What is funny to me though, when I say all that, is that while we're a small team that handles our workload very well, obviously within any large utility that's across many states and so on and so forth, there are issues where sometimes other people want to do some of the work. Now, they may call us to support them on a lot of those things, and that's usually how it goes. But they want to have some of the capability, and we don't have the capability to just show up and do all the little jobs either. So we want them to have that. But I'm having these conversations with IT about how to get them the ability to handle some of this stuff. I'm not an IT guy, guys. Like, I'm not paid to do IT work, but I get paid to work with IT to fix these problems. But so some of these road trips, like I said, inevitably end up with me having to work with IT to resolve issues. And people look at me and go, "How do you know how to do all this stuff?" Quite honestly, it's because just like Chris and I have talked about, I have to research so much stuff for my job to even better understand what we're doing. So I say all that to say this. So we've got the next thing that we've got on the list kind of entices me a lot, and we may talk about this more offline, off the podcast about what you and I have been talking about,
Mm-hmm.
Chris. But Sabrent has
Mm-hmm.
come out with an 8 terabyte Gen 4 TLC drive.
See,
So
TLC,
TLC, yeah,
not Q, T.
which when Chris told me about this, and we were just like, as I say, immediate response that I had, nah, there's no way that's TLC. It's got to be QLC. 8 terabyte.
Which would make total sense. Like it would.
Absolutely, it would. Um,
And it's pretty quick.
yeah. I mean, absolutely, it is. So they have a Rocket NVMe 3D and this is the huge in big bold letters 3D TLC. Now,
Not QLC.
hang on, I've got one laying around. Where did I put those? I've got some TLC 1 terabyte drive.
What?
I have drives to show people because this will help explain why they're doing what they're doing. I like to explain things to people, and this is one of the opportunity to.
I don't think it ever showed up.
What?
Not really. I got you Chinese food. Oh, thanks.
Hey, Amanda.
Brad says hi.
Hi.
Hello. Oh yeah, that's right. You got headphones on. She can't hear me.
Yep.
I'm gonna grab them real quick. Hang on. Set my headphones on. Oh. Now, keep in mind these are out of a Dell workstation, so it is what it is. Don't worry about them. An older Dell workstation, I should say. So, all right. That's right. You can't see the camera, so I can turn my camera back on now. I know it's not a camera issue.
I can see it in your little picture on the sidebar.
Well, yeah, but I want to do this. So, okay, here we go. So this is a 1 terabyte drive, right? Everybody's seen an NVMe drive, right? All right. This is the back of a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. Ta-da! It's blank. There's nothing there. Go ahead, Goober. So that's the back of a drive. Now, here's the thing, people. Think this through. It's the back of a drive. There's a lot of space to put more NAND on there.
Yeah.
Now, what I am curious about, because Sabrent or Crucial, Micron, I should say, Micron modules, or who's the other NAND flash manufacturer? I keep forgetting them. SK Hynix.
Micron. They make NAND.
Well,
yeah.
Crucial is Micron.
Right. Where does Sabrent source
Yeah, see if you
there?
can find that.
And
It's a good.
that would be a big.
But so I said that to say this. So they're buying it from somebody. So somebody else is going to come out with these things pretty soon, with their own version of it. So yeah, this is not something that is just going to be a one and done kind of thing, guys. It's other folks are going to make them.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was getting at. There will be other options to buy these from those people.
Micron. So there's this Anantech article. I'm gonna put it in Twitch chat.
Okay.
Sabrent for their Q4, which was a Gen 3 QLC drive, that it was Micron NAND.
Okay,
which doesn't mean that the new super fast drive is Micron. Could be, obviously.
But they're kind of being Sabrent's kind of being innovative with their packaging. So okay, let's have a conversation here for a minute. Wait, this is a tech podcast.
Oh no,
we can break a second here.
I was wrong. The Q4 drive in the link of 4900 read. Yep.
It's a what? Say that again now.
It's a Gen 4 drive because it has a peak write of 4900 meg.
The Q4 one does?
Yes.
Okay. But that's a QLC drive, isn't it?
Correct.
Okay, so this is TLC, so it's got a 7,000 meg write.
Yep.
But they, like I said, they're probably working with a lot of vendors. So I mean, just like anything else, people, Mushkin, for example, Mushkin buys their parts from somebody, creates their own PCB, just like AIBs for graphics cards.
Yep.
So if you're buying a commercial graphics card, a gaming graphics card, as everybody likes to call them, I love it that my dog's tail is wagging away in the background. She sees a dog out there she wants to play with desperately. Oh man. But so Sabrent, just like anybody else, an AIB or anything, they work with somebody to buy the flash at volume. So it's way under MSRP.
Yeah.
Let's say, and I'm going to use funny big round numbers. Let's say Nvidia sells a GPU die, the actual chip for a 3080 to a company, and they sell it to them at $400, right?
Sure.
They manufacture the board. They create the PCB and have it manufactured. They buy all the GDR6X. They buy all the capacitors and everything like that. That costs them another $100, round numbers. This isn't exact numbers. I'm pulling them out of a hat, basically. All right. Then they turn around for a 3080 was supposed to be what, like $799, so $800. So they've got five. They sell it for $800 and they make a profit. All right. They did some R&D in there, so probably by the time that extra $200 is lost after the $400 they pay for the chip, they sell it for $800. They make $300 on it, or they make $200 on it. Sell a crap ton of cards like Nvidia is doing right now, and guess what? Solidly set up. All right. So I've said all that to say this. Of they're making these new drives and they're doing their own thing. They bought it from somebody. What's hilarious about this is that they're still using like a normal Phison controller or whatever it ends up being. Phison is one of those people that manufactures most of the Samsung manufactures their own sometimes, but Phison's one of the better. Like if you buy a Corsair NVMe drive, it uses a Phison controller. It's one of the more popular NVMe controller manufacturers. And yes, that's a Phison controller is just a CPU. It's just a computer chip. Like people don't quite understand that. Computer chips are on everything. So there's a computer chip that runs your NVMe board, right? All right. Say all that, and then it's got X amount of. I don't. Does it tell us in this article how much? I'm gonna switch back to the article real quick. Does it tell us how much in the article how much VRAM it gives, or RAM cache, I should say?
RAM cache.
Yes, it does.
8
8 gigs.
gigs.
You get 8 gigs of.
That.
I wonder what that would be. I wonder if it's DDR4.
Unsure. Out of curiosity, what does a 980 Pro 2 TB have
I'll look it up.
as far as DRAM cache? So on the topic of SSTAAC, on the topic of NVMe drives, I've seen both a DRAM cache and an SLC cache.
So
Is
okay,
there a
there's a
what?
difference,
Okay,
and that's a great point to have that difference. So, I can't remember who it was that made the SLC, like the nice SLC. Talking about it. I want to find.
those are quick.
Yes, they are.
They're small. So
Here
a
we
980
go.
Pro 2 TB.
Let's see. Environment.
Oh, stop
It doesn't tell you. It doesn't tell me the actual. Oh, here it is. 2 gigabytes on the DDR4. It's 2 gigabytes of low power DDR4.
Yep, this is
It's
for the 980
LPDDR4
Pro.
for the 980 Pro. That I mean,
Yeah.
keep in mind they're also using TLC on the 980 Pro.
MLC.
3-bit MLC. That's TLC. Anything
I've got an
over
article.
SLC is technically MLC. The 970
Oh.
Pro was the last one to use 2-bit MLC.
I see that it's a 3-bit MLC, so that's technically T. Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice catch.
believe you me, I'm all over them on this stuff. Like don't get me wrong, and I have a 970 Pro and a 980 Pro in the machine we're broadcasting from right now.
That's not entirely true advertising. Like
Actually, it is. Actually, it is. They didn't ever name they all. So when they went from SLC, which was the original like 960 Pros and 950 Pros, it was all SLC. But you can't. So the problem with SLC is you can't stack it and get more capacity. So what they did is they went to MLC for 2-bit MLC. They're not, by putting this information right here that I've got highlighted, if you see it on screen, By putting that information there, they're not lying to you. Legally, they're not lying because they call it out as Samsung VNAND 3-bit MLC. I don't like it like better than anybody else, but it is not a lie because MLC stands for multi-layer cache. TLC stands for triple layer cache. QLC
And
stands for quad layer cache.
And triple
quad
is
layer
multi.
cell. Quad layer cell. And triple is still multi. Yes, they never came with 2-bit was always MLC. But if they put the 3-bit in front of it, they're not lying to us. I mean, it's some BS. But that's how they got though from being so. You know, the 970 Pro maxed out at 1 terabyte. How they got to be able to have a 2 terabyte 980 Pro was by moving to TLC. You can't do it without moving to TLC. And it does affect your overall write speed. Like that's what people. If it was truly if the 1 terabyte was truly 2-bit MLC on Gen 4, I would bet my bottom. I'd bet $1 million on it that the 1 terabyte write speed would be within 500 megabytes a second of the 1 terabyte read speed, which is 7,000 megabytes a second. But going back to Sabrent, flip back over a page. I know. Go back over here. So it does have I love this. Total terabytes written, it can write up to 60,000 terabytes. All right. Guys, it's an 8 terabyte drive. That's just not something you're really going to see that much. But let's do some soft math here with everybody. All right. 60,000 divided by 8. And because I'm the kind of person that can find a way to get there quick if I'm using NVMe for everything. 60,000 divided by 8. That's only rewriting the drive 750 times. That's not a lot. If you look at the 1 terabyte version, it's only rewriting the drive 700 times. So to give you a frame of reference in my workstation world, in enterprise drives have to go usually 2 to 3 times that. Now let's look at the 980 Pro. Let's see what it's got. So it's read write on the 2 terabyte is the warranty period on the 2 terabyte is 1,200 terabyte write hours or 5 years. I want to see if they've got they don't have an actual failure point, but they have a warranty for 1,200. That's 600 read writes for the warranty. Guys, usually warranty gives a lot more. Let's see if I can find the here's the data sheet. The data sheet. Data sheets usually tell you a little bit more. Which like they'll give you like reliability. Like they're giving you the warranty. Got a much longer read-write life cycle. Should have a much longer read-write cycle than the warranty. But they're basically saying if it fails in 12,000 terabyte write hours, that's pretty quick. You know, it's so funny. We look at all these things and we look at all these great speed numbers that they give us, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Speed to me is BS. Because there isn't a motherboard in this world that can, outside of synthetically, move files at that speed. Like synthetic benchmarks aside, there's not a motherboard in this world that will move files from one drive at that speed.
Windows kind of sucks.
I don't care if it's Linux. It's a limitation of the physical files and the way you move them. That's the limitation to me. It has nothing to do. I can move from an Octane 960p to a 2 terabyte 970 Pro both on they're on Gen 3, right? And I still won't
Mm-hmm.
get faster than 2 terabytes a second. Which this says that
Hmm.
now it's on Gen 3, so the max Gen 3 speed you're going to get for writes is usually going to be somewhere around 30 something 3 terabytes per
Mm-hmm.
second, roughly.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I've peaked at 2 terabytes one time, guys. So that's a whole nother story we can talk about, but that's still pretty awesome. Now, the next story we got up here is a little more interesting,
I would agree so.
and I'm kind of intrigued. Chris, you've gotten a couple of these in for testing, haven't
I
you?
did.
For you with this, so
They kick butt.
this is Fantech's version of or way to beat the IPPC Noctua fans.
No, so it's beating the one that's beating the IPPC. So it's beating the NFA 12. Their new their pointy. I'm doing terrible. NFA 12 by 25.
Look them up.
Basically, their most expensive fan.
12, you said?
NFA 12 X 25.
Noctua. You said it's the A12. NF. I don't see the NFA 12 ones.
Uh, I mean, I know it's available on Amazon, but I just went and Googled it. NFA 12.
A12X15.
Yes.
We'll go look it up on Noctua's site. So
X15 is a smaller version. It's not quite as thick.
it's thinner, basically. Okay.
No, the NF-A12X25 is the fan that the Fantex fan is beating.
Ah. So let me go
The
products.
the the NF-A12X15
It's
is a
thinner.
completely different fan.
Well, you
It's
sorting me out here. I'm okay with that. 120 minute do you know which A12, the PWM?
the FLX isn't quite as powerful, I believe, because it's not a
It's a
four
three
pin
pin.
fan.
It's a three pin.
Correct.
Yep, it's not a four.
Correct. Correct.
They do have a 5 volt version of it though. PWM. I'm looking at them all. We can look at all the data right here that we need to see. So it's 25. Basically, it's how thick it is. 25 is how thick it is.
Yes.
So yeah, I say all that to say this. So basically, they now have a new fan that is going to beat the NFF12 by 25 PWM fan. That fan is moving 102 cubic meters, 102.1 cubic meters per hour.
So essentially, it more or less is. I think the charts were saying that it was 2 to 4 degrees colder than the NFA 12 by 25, and it was a couple bucks less. I mean, so the cost is not a big deal.
Yep.
It's not. It comes in black, which is nice. It's no longer,
Brown.
but it does slight. It does a slightly beat the Noctua fan. It also has an RGB hub. Sorry, not God. I'm so used to RGB. It has a fan speed controller on the fan itself. It's got a physical switch. I wish I had a fan here, but it's got a physical switch on it that allows you to go between 1200, 2000, and 3000. And you can change it when the fan is on. I just recommend being very careful uh, so you don't cut your finger. I used a screwdriver and I was very, very careful. I also didn't feel like turning the computer off.
Lazy man's boy like me. That's
Um,
still, I mean, that's still pretty awesome though.
at 1200 RPM, when the PWM signal is below 50%, it turns the fan off.
Okay.
Um, I ran some performance benchmarks with IDA 64 and the 24 core Threadripper that we have at the office with a triple fan water cooler Facebook, but um, I was pretty impressed, I must say.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just reading into it a little bit more to see that it's. I mean, it is a little
Now
bit thicker at 30
it's thicker,
millimeters,
yeah,
but I mean, for that performance increase, I'll sacrifice 5 millimeters on a, especially on a water an AIO or
yeah,
something like that. I mean, yeah,
yeah.
and it's got a higher capable of spinning 3,000 RPM.
And the NFA 12 is not
Only 2,000.
the correct.
That, well, let's be realistic here. It's also mildly louder than the NFA 12, but it's also a lot more airflow too. When you're spinning that much faster, you're going to move a lot more air.
Yeah,
I mean, a massive amount more air. So airflow. Here's a great. Okay, I'm gonna blow the Tom's Hardware graph up so everybody can see it. So here's a great example. All right, the A12 by 25 is in blue. How much? So if it's not radiator restricted, so if you're just using it as an airflow fan into your case, right? We're talking it's going to move at peak airflow, at a reasonable noise. It's going to the NF the Fantex fan is going to move roughly 15% more air, 15 to 20% more air, roughly,
yeah.
based on the numbers I'm looking at here. Now,
Hmm.
and that's the beautiful thing is exactly what you were pointing at, though. Because it's a it's a great fan, but if you put it on a radiator, it's even saying it's moving more air through the radiator. That's
Hmm.
usually where people lose to Noctua.
Right.
Normally, I mean,
Yeah.
you can design a great fan and beat Noctua all day long.
Right.
It's usually in the
Water
final,
cooling bit.
final cycle, trying to push it through a radiator or trying to push it
Hmm.
through a fin stack heavy CPU cooler or something like that, where ultimately Noctua wins because their designs are just pretty awesome, to be quite honest. But this is not true of the Fantex fan, so that's impressive to me.
There is one more trick up its sleeve that I forgot to mention. You can daisy chain it,
Oh snap! That's the one thing I hate about
which I have
Noctua.
done, and it works fantastically.
I hate that about Noctua. You can't daisy chain diddly squat with them. You have to buy the 2-to-1 adapter and then 2-to-1 them so many times over. I hate that crap.
If you buy it as so I don't work for Fantex. I'm not getting any sort of commission from this ad. Um, if you buy it as a single, it's like a $30 fan. If you buy it as a triple, it's $85. So you save $5 on packaging, I think. Um, but
That's still huge.
when
And
if you're buying 16 fans,
you got a big case, that's a way to go, man. I mean, that's huge. And the fact that it goes up to 3,000 RPM. So I'm gonna tell you guys that. So personally, my personal preference, what I've bought over the years, I run Noctua IPPC 3,000 RPM fans in my case on my radiators.
yeah,
I don't run them on anything else, but on the radiators I do. And on the radiators, it's the extra RPM is what you need when you go into high load situations. Most of the
yeah,
time, they operate right around, I don't know, 1,500 RPM, 1500 RPM with a 3000, so they're not that loud.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a pretty nice setup. Now, when you jump over to the other side of things and you look at some of the things a little bit differently, then you're talking a little bit more that you got to handle. And that's when I kind of have to say, okay, well, I'm going to bump the speeds up and do all that stuff. So it is what it is. Um, that's huge. So having that option in their standard fan,
With a I I'm I'm putting this fan everywhere.
and it makes sense to me.
No problem.
So I'm going to jump over here to this one. Our next article up that we're going to look at, I'm just going to go ahead and jump right into it, is Alder Lake drops AVX 512.
I found that out an hour ago. I did not know
Yes.
that.
Yes, that's AVX 512, especially in the
AEC.
workstation space. So rendering most encoders, because what AVX 512 is the encoder bit. So AVX, so you can see it here in the article. You know, design as a third. It's a vector instruction. So basically, it's all about rendering and CPU based hard processing. AVX2 is 256-bit. AVX 512 is 512-bit. When you have that 512-bit wide instruction set that you can work with, it's a big difference in a lot of software. And the fact that they took it out of Alder Lake, and there's a reason for that. It's also not going to be in Raptor Lake too. Just so you know, because let me rephrase. We don't. I'm saying that, but because it's related to the E cores. So Intel's new, they divulged an awful lot at Architecture Day and then at Hot Chips. So at Intel's Architecture Day, they talked about the new E core and P core. So the E core are the smaller cores, which are faster than Skylake.
Yep.
For the power, they are faster than Skylake up to 80%. All right, these are Atom cores, guys, that are 80% faster than Skylake cores, which, if you base it on iteration, means they're 80% faster than Comet Lake cores. And they fit into the package of a single P core, which is now the Golden Cove core that Intel's got. Now, Golden Cove has AVX 512 built into the core, but it will be fused off in Alder Lake. In Sapphire Rapids, it will not be. Because Sapphire Rapids has no E cores. I would imagine any generation down the line, until they get off Gracemont, may not have AVX 512 enabled. Unfortunately, I don't know that for sure. I'm just speculating, and you know, I don't normally like to speculate, but this is something to think about, guys, because one of Intel's biggest perks right now is AVX 512, especially in the workstation market and server market too. But so I say all that to just say, buying a laptop or whatnot, depending on your workload, you're going to see a drop off in performance with Alder Lake. That's just going to happen. Just be prepared. Just so you know. It's not going to be a massive drop off, but there will be a little drop off. So I've made a move on with our lives, and everything will be better. So say all that, say nothing else. On to the next bits.